สวัสดีครับท่านนักลงทุนทุกท่านนะครับขอต้อนรับเข้าสู่การบรรยายสรุปข้อมูลของบริษัท TPIPL จำกัดมหาชนนะครับผู้ร่วมบรรยายสรุปข้อมูลวันนี้นะครับทางซ้ายของผมนะครับมิสคุณมาเรียนะครับเบรนด้าโลเปสนะครับเป็นผู้บรรยายสรุปข้อมูลแล้วก็ผมนะครับประเสริฐอิทธิเมคินนะครับจะร่วมตอบคำถามกับคุณมาเรียด้วยนะคุณมาเรียเป็น VP ทางด้าน Corporate Relations นะส่วนผมเป็น SVP ทาง Finance นะฮะงั้นเดี๋ยวเชิญคุณมาเรียเลยแล้วกันนะครับเชิญครับ
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining in this session for a company update on TPIPL, highlighting the third quarter performance of the year. As usual, we would like to run through the corporate structure. We have 4 business divisions: construction, specialty polymers, energy and utilities, and then agriculture, healthcare, and others. Our biggest is construction in terms of sales and asset, but our best generating EBITDA is in the specialty polymer, and then next is energy and utilities. These are our assets. In terms of cement, we have 13.5 million tons per year capacity. If you compare us with our peers, Siam Cement and Siam City, we would stand as the 3rd largest because Siam City and Siam Cement have overseas assets. If you focus on Thailand only, we are the number 2 player in terms of installed capacity, and we are the highest in terms of utilization rate in excess of 90%. We also have a lot of allied products to cement, like mortar, ready-mix concrete, roof tiles, and fiber cement. And in these products, we also have a very strong market position. Most of our construction materials are domestic. We do sell some clinker to a selected ASEAN markets in Asia. Our specialty polymer, if everyone recalls, we used to be very big in petrochemicals, and TPI actually started in the petrochemical division. But then right now we only have specialty polymer, and this is about 160 kilotons per year, 1,000 tons per year. It doesn't look big compared to the other chemical producers here in Thailand, like Siam Cement, which is like 4 million tons, and PTTGC, which is over 2 million tons. But in the specific category where we are operating in, which is EVA, HPA, EVA, our capacity is considered middle size globally. In addition to specialty, we also have nitrate. We are the only producer in Thailand of ammonium nitrate and also nitric acid. Ammonium nitrate is used in blasting quarry and earth mining, and nitric acid is used as a solvent. And we have other smaller divisions that are just currently an extension of what our core business does, and these are all avenues for future growth for the group. We have energy utilities. We are 440 right now. And as of this year, about 220 megawatts is still classified as coal. However, I'd like to point out that TG7, which is 70 megawatt, has already completed its modification program, and it is now in SW starting April 2023. Right now, our long-term modification program is only focused on the 150 megawatt coal, and we divide this project into 3, completing by the end of 2025. And our target is that by 2026, our power production will be totally coal-free. We also have new projects, a solar farm and wind farm. This will be in Saraburi and will operate next year. And this will the power we produce here will be supplied to our parent company, and so the power that we buy from the national grid will decrease significantly. And in addition, we have 15,000 rand of fully paid land asset in the south, and we are just waiting for the necessary permits to proceed with our long-term vision, which is to create an industrial city in that part of Thailand. These are our products. We have over 5,000 SKUs, and currently we are starting to look at the various SKUs and begin to cull some of the SKUs. And if doing that, we will improve our inventory management. We are very proud of our strong innovation culture. And here you can see we have many firsts in the country. We were the first in mortar, and we have now the most diversified product portfolio. We are the first in hydraulic cement, which other producers call as the green cement or hybrid cement. We are the only one that produces a stucco wall. And then we have our cement facility, our clinker facility, uses MSW as an alternative fuel. Literature in AFR, alternative fuel and raw materials, will group this together, but MSW is quite different from industrial waste. Our competitor use industrial waste in their alternative fuel program. We are the only cement producer in Thailand whereby our mines are linked to our production facility via a conveyor belt. And this allows us to save 3 million liters of diesel per year, and it produces over 1 million units of electricity. We are the first power plant to adopt a zero waste policy, meaning that all the waste that we use in our power production and the byproducts are utilized somewhere else. We use MSW, and we are the first who can do waste to energy SPP that is over 10 megawatt in capacity. And when we burn our waste, we produce what we call fly ash. And this fly ash is pumped into our cement production and put in as a replacement of some of the raw material. We have fire-resistant fiber cement and furniture board. For these two product groups, we actually received a new patent in the US in August this year. And this, we hope, can help us push our product into the overseas market. We also have some healthcare products like Bionox that can help stunt viral growth. So right now, especially with the rise of the respiratory diseases, this can be very helpful in boosting the immunity. We also have ProVita, which is to boost the efficiency of the gastrointestinal tract in terms of processing food. So this is the patent that we received last August on our fiber cement. And the characteristic of this product is that it is lightweight. It is very easy to work on. It doesn't have dust, and it can be fixed with nails and screws many times over because of the material. And the best part is that it is resistant to humidity, so no fungus and termites and insects, and it's not flammable. We hope that this market is particularly interesting, especially overseas. According to Industry ARC, this is a consultancy market research company. The demand for fiber cement is expected to grow by 6.2% per annum. And this is far better than the global economic growth of slightly over 2%. This is where we are relative to our peers. In our cement, we stand in between the first player and the second player. And we are also doing well in terms of holding up the margin, particularly this year. In our petrochemical division, you can see that the biggest player in third quarter realized a 5% EBITDA margin. The second player is at 10%, and the HVA PE base is 18.2, whereas TPIPL's specialty polymer division is 28.3. And the reason for that is explained in these graphics, whereby you can see that our spread is much better than the commodity grade HDPE, LDPE. So in terms of EBITDA margin performance, we are quite up there, tier 1 in cost curve and grouping. But in terms of valuation, you can see that market valuation currently is not reflecting the better than peers performance ratios. Our PE is around 7 times, just a little bit higher than the yield that we offer to the dividend yield that we offer to the market, which is 6.1%. And it's the same case is seen in TPIPL Power, whereby the PE is 7 to 8 times, and the dividend yield is close to 7%. This is our performance. You will see our revenue growth was 10% year-on-year in the 9 months, and our net profit after tax is down 51%, minus 51%. And this is because of the increases in tax, slight deceleration in margins and such. You will see that our EBITDA margin in the 9 months is 24.2%. But in the third quarter, our EBITDA margin was 25.7%. The reason why our 9 months EBITDA margin is lower than the third quarter is because in first quarter, our EBITDA margin was quite poor. But you can see from the low in first quarter up to the third quarter, we have delivered consistently improving EBITDA margin. This is how we look in terms of segmental breakdown. Sales, as I mentioned, was a minus 10% growth in the year, and 56% of that is from construction materials, and 25% is from specialty, polymer, and energy, 18%. But when it comes to EBITDA generation, construction materials only generate 26%, specialty polymer is 28%, and energy and utilities is 45% EBITDA margin. You can also see that here in the asset, our total asset was up by 7%, and that is mainly coming from construction materials and investments in energy. These two investment groups is linked to our ESG and sustainability goals. So in terms of summary for the performance, cement volume rose 4% year-on-year because of the strong sales in hydraulic cement. But it was down quarter-on-quarter slightly, and that is a seasonal factor, a rainy season. The good performance of the hydraulic cement is in line with our push towards green cement and building products, which we launched in a big way in June. But for the whole construction material division, we delivered a decline of 5% year-on-year and 13% Q-on-Q. And this is mainly because of the weak sales of clinker and the slower sales of mixed cement. Export volume, which is primarily clinker, has been soft in the regional because of the weak regional demand, and also TPIPL stopped selling products at very low price. We saw a mild improvement in the second quarter, but it did not continue into the third quarter. Overall price in the domestic market was quite stable, but the export market was quite competitive. Well, offsetting the lackluster top line was the sequential drop in the price of coal and the cost of energy, because there was an FT adjustment downwards in the second quarter and early third quarter, right? So EBITDA margin on the construction materials improved significantly. EVA, our volume sales were lower and demand was sluggish. EBITDA margin was down, but improved slightly Q1Q basis because of slightly better spread. Typically, petrochemicals is tied to manufacturing activity, and the third to fourth quarter is the high season. But this year, the high season was not quite, is quite lackluster, particularly in the side of demand for solar panel production, which was quite soft. Outlook right now is very lackluster towards the end of the year. There are some plant shutdowns in the region, so maybe spread will improve, but we do not put a big weight on this in terms of fourth quarter performance. In the case of energy, the volume was down, volume was up 15% year-on-year, but down 70% QOQ, because PG7, which came back in April, had to go into a repair in September. This is still part of the adjustments after we modified the plant from a hybrid coal MSW to 100% MSW. The operating rate of the waste heat plants improved QoQ, while that of the MSW power plants were flat. So as mentioned earlier, the 150 megawatt coal-fired power plant has begun its modification. And in the third quarter, we saw the full effects of the loss of other year-on-year basis, because as 55 megawatt power plant other expired in August last year, and also the lower FT Q-on-Q. So you can see here the prices of our power sales, right, based on different projects. In 2022, we already had expiry of 18 megawatt power plant, and then 55 megawatt power plant expired in August. But the 90 megawatt power plant still has the full other, which will expire in 2025. And this is the average price that we sell to the national grid. This one is the average price that we sold to our parent company, which is in line with the price in the national grid without the other. Now, January to September 2023, you can see drastic decline in the prices, especially here, because this is full other effect. And this one is higher than last year, is because of the quite good FT in the first quarter of the year. October to December, we already see the prices on this range. That 3 baht or so for the non-other sale to the national grid, and 6.7 for those sold with other to the national grid, and also 3.3 average for our parent company. And this is the FT trajectory for the 9 months of 2023. If you want to see a more detailed discussion on the pricing, please refer to our Opportunity Day presentation of TPIPL in Power. So this is another way of presenting our margin. You can see the construction material, the margin is very volatile. And since 2020, down to the third quarter of this year, the average is only 11%. Whereas in specialty polymer, we run an average of 34%, but in the third quarter, it's lower at 28%. Energy and utilities, our average margin was 57%. In third quarter, it was 58%. But here is the important. When you look at the slope, the delta of the EBITDA margin for the whole group, you can see that the slope tends to follow what's happening in the construction material. Remember, I said to you that our construction material division is 56% of our total asset. Its average margin is at 11%, but our group gives you an average of 28%. And the reason for this is because of the high margin of energy and the high margin of specialty polymer. If you look at this trajectory and characteristic of the margin, you will see that this performance is much better compared to our closest domestic peers. Our financial position is quite interesting in the sense that our debt load in the third quarter was 76 billion. But you would also see that we are sitting on a very high cash position of 13 billion. So our net of cash leverage is really just about 63 billion, right? Here you can see that since 2020, we have been sitting on a huge cash balance relative to our sales generation. And the reason for this is because of the uncertainty in the financial environment, and we chose to sit on a very conservative position. We have a program CapEx, and so we want to be sure that our rollout or implementation will be smooth and doesn't get disrupted by financing. In terms of cost leverage, financing cost, we are around 4% funding costs, and our TRIS rating is A-. Our net debt to EBITDA as of the 9 months was 5.8 times. Another aspect for us is our long working capital, particularly in the recent quarters, where like 150 days, over 150 days, very, very high, very long. And the reason for this, again, is tied to our CapEx. If you look at our inventory breakdown, you will see a significant proportion of plant machinery and spare parts. So outlook, the gross capital formation of this country has been very weak. And you can see here, particularly gross capital formation of the government is negative. Even with that, the construction sector still positive in terms of generating activity, and also real estate. But very clearly, these numbers are very low. So we would expect that for the construction material, the outlook will remain lackluster. The formation of the government's delayed, and even now we do not have a clear, we haven't had the approval of the national budget. So this means that the funding of ongoing projects will also be slow, right? In terms of cement export, the economic recovery in Vietnam and China has been slow also. And this created a supply glut in the region and keeping the price low. The good thing for our construction material remains the same. The price of coal and electricity is very manageable this year, and it continues to boost our margin over and above the gains of from the efficiency programs that we have rolled out. In terms of EBIT, the outlook for the remainder of the year is quite lackluster. Interestingly, the slowdown is actually in the solar panel, where it did not see at all any seasonal high. For our energy, CG7 repair is complete. I mentioned to you that in September there was disruption, which is really part of the learning curve as we just come out from our modification program. For us, in the power, operating rate is the key, and we hope that we can hit closer to 500 million units. We are below 500 million units in the third quarter. Now, in the November 29 meeting with the Energy Regulatory Commission, they have approved tentatively FT adjustment of 69 satang for the January to April pricing next year. However, this number still has to go through second round of approval. So it's a case of wait and see. Another development that we would like to report is that TPIPL Power was given the highest score in the bids for the 10 megawatt MSW power in Mukdahan, which is about 1.8 billion baht. And there is a chance that we can win this project. If we win this project, this will be our third waste to energy MSW power plant that is located in other provincial areas outside of Saraburi, where we are currently operating. So variables to watch, you can see the price of coal, of course, is quite important for our cement production, and also some for our power production. And then here is the the EU gas prices, which is one of the key variable that drives the calculation of FT. It has again bounced, it's again on a positive trajectory. And this is why the last conversation, there are three kind of FT increments that has been considered. And apparently the ARC is going for the 69 satang per unit. And operating rate for our power is the key to resiliency in performance. We hope to hit closer to 500 million or maybe even better. Well, in terms of people ask what could be the price of cement, because the cost is still high relatively, then it's highly unlikely that the price of cement will come down. So we expect to see that cement price index will stay at these levels. As for the property demand, you can see that the big property companies, as of the 9 months, they were able to deliver 64% of their target. And typically, fourth quarter is the high season for property activities, so maybe they can beat their target this year. This is one reason why the real estate GDP is on a positive growth. Here, you can see the EVA situation. The recovery, the high season for the manufacturing is reflected in this orange line, which is hot milk used in the packaging, in the blue line, which is the foam used in manufacturing goods like footwear. They are all recovering. However, the application used in solar panel production has remained very depressed actually, and this is the reason why the EVA price has actually not recovered at all. And in addition to that, at least for the third quarter, the price of the VAM, which is raw material, has increased, and so the spread has shrunk. But this kind of spread is still much better compared to the spread that you would see in the commodities grade of the polymer like HDPE and LLDPE. Okay, this is an important chart as a lead indicator of where things are gonna be. As you can see, the producer manufacturing index, and this is an economic reflection of economic activity, is actually quite weak in the US and in Europe. In China, it's like just about the break-even point. So this will underpin manufacturing production, and by extension, the derived demand for plastic and polymer products. Okay, our guidance at the beginning of the year, we said that we hope to achieve EBITDA margin of 13.3%, EBITDA of 13.3 billion. But given that in the first 9 months, construction is only 46% of our target, specialty polymer is 64% of our full year target, but power is 71%. We are revising down our EBITDA target for this year to around 10 to 11 billion. Based on this revised number, our 9 months EBITDA would be about 72%. This is just a review of our guidance and our activities in terms of CapEx. CapEx deployed based on our cash flow that you will see. We are now at 7.3 billion for 9 months, 6.3 for the acquisition of PPE, and 1 billion for advances on PME. And all that, 61% has gone to the power division. This is our scorecard for sustainability. You would notice that sustainability tracking has become more and more complicated. But anyway, this is something that we have to do, and we report it in our MD&A. As of the end of last year, we had 1.2 million TVER certification on carbon credit. Yeah, but at the end of September, this has gone up to 1.55 million units. At the end of last year, we have 1.4 million units of IREC. This is renewable energy credit. And the market for this is in Europe mainly, and we continue to submit for more certification. So maybe we can have an update in the full year report. This is how we imagine our net zero program by 2030. You would notice that this picture keeps changing, and that is because ESG itself is really not a destination, it is a process. So it will continually change, but we try to adapt our schematics on what we are doing. So you can see here on the substitution of fuel, we have more longer list of what we want to do than in the previous chart. The biggest element to our ESG and sustainability program is the conversion of our coal-fired power plant that we hope by 2026 we will become zero fossil on our power production. And if we reach that, our consumption of garbage will go up to 17,000 tons per day, which will give us an equivalent of 12 million tons of carbon credits. This is based on internal assumption, yeah? Is 17 million tons per day difficult to fix in terms of garbage? Our answer is no, because the country itself produces over 70,000 tons per day of garbage. What is the issue here? If we hit this number, it's more of a logistics issue because there will be trucks delivering the MSW to our power facility. This is just the price of carbon, and this is the expectation of the price of carbon under different carbon programs, right? And this is just a hint of what is our hidden asset at this point in time. Okay, our awards. We compete in many awards assessment domestically and overseas, and these are our awards overseas, awarded in London, Middle East, Europe, as well as America. So we have Best Sustainable Development from the Global Business Magazine. We have CSR activities from 3G. This is Global Good Governance Magazine. And we have TPIPL on 3G as well in the Environmental Responsibility category. And we get a Diamond Prize for Excellence in Quality for our TPIPL Power. We are granted the citation of Most Innovative Industrial Materials, and this is reflection of our innovation products. We have Best Corporate Governance Company in Thailand from the International Business Magazine. And we also have, in our agriculture, we are mentioned as one of the 5 companies in Thailand that is at the forefront of agri-biotech. And then domestically, we received the AA category for the ESG rating by the stock exchange, both TPIPL and TPIPL Power. So you know that there are 70 companies lifted up into AA category out of the 700 or so listed on the stock exchange. This year, we also hit the 5-star corporate governance rating. And in addition, our innovation in the cement plant on our vector power is given the award as one of the 10 innovations in Thailand by the SET in the last awarding ceremony. Well, this we are winding down now, and this is we would like to highlight once again our green cement, and this is basically driven by a lower clinker content and also other activities at the margin that will reduce the dust as well as consumption of diesel. One of them is this one, the link of the quarry to the plant using a conveyor belt. It reduces the use of trucks, therefore reduces the dust pollution. This one is we are using MSW into our calciner. So we can operate our calciner up to 25% of MSW now. This one is to utilize the limestone scrap. The limestone that comes from the mine comes in different sizes, and some of them cannot be processed by our clinker facility. So it is sort of a scrap. But then we installed a CDA plant that further process this scrap, and we can use it into our production. Yes, so we are converting our trucks, mining trucks, into EV, and we are almost done. And next year we will start converting our logistics trucks into EV. One last thing that I would like to highlight, because this is also in the investors' mind, is the pending case with the Supreme Court regarding accusation that we overstep our mining activity outside of the concession area, therefore creating an environmental effect. So you know very well that there are two options for the compensation if we lose the case. One is we return the rocks into the location, and that is 47.9 million. And or we pay the fine, which is 6.3 billion, which is equivalent to 34 satang per share. And our book value as of the end of third quarter is 3.39, whereas our share price is 1.4. So even if we assume that we will pay 6.3 billion, the reduction, our book value is still much higher than the share price. That is the end of my presentation, and we will go to the Q&A, and Professor will answer.
ครับ thank you คุณมาริต่อไปนะครับเป็นการตอบคำถามนะฮะทางจากสักครู่นะฮะ
ไปเบอร์นั้น
โอเคคำถามข้อแรกนะครับ Q3 กับ9เดือนปี66ปริมาณการขายปูนซีเมนต์ในประเทศเท่าไหร่นะครับใน9เดือนแรกเนี่ยเราขายปูนประมาณ8.9 ล้านตันนะครับในเป็นโดเมสติกประมาณ7ล้านกว่าตันแล้วก็เอ็กซ์พอร์ตประมาณ1ล้านกว่าตันนะครับในต่อไตรมาสในไตรมาส3เนี่ยเราขายปูนซีเมนต์รวมประมาณ 2.75 ล้านตันนะครับเป็นในส่วนของโดเมสติก 2.34 ล้านตันแล้วก็เอ็กซ์พอร์ตประมาณ 400,000 ตันเพราะฉะนั้นก็อยู่ในระดับที่ใกล้เคียงกับเพิ่มขึ้นเล็กน้อยนะจากไตรมาส2นะครับคำถามต่อไปนะครับในช่วง Q4 ราคาเฉลี่ยเปรียบเทียบกับ Q3 เป็นยังไงครับราคาจริงๆต้องบอกว่าในช่วง Q4 เนี่ยราคาพลังงานเนี่ยราคาถ่านหินเนี่ยลดลงนะครับแล้วก็ทำให้ players บางรายเนี่ยมีการลดราคาซีเมนต์ลงบ้างแต่ว่าราคาที่ลดลงเนี่ยเมื่อเทียบกับต้นทุนถ่านหินที่ลดลงมากกว่าเนี่ยเรายังได้ EBITDA ที่ดีขึ้นนะครับในแง่ของธุรกิจของปูนซีเมนต์เพราะว่า cost ต่ำลงนะครับก็5ปัจจุบันมีการใช้กำลังการผลิตน่าจะหมายถึงคลิงเกอร์นะครับอยู่ที่เท่าไหร่นะฮะเรามีนโยบายรันคลิงเกอร์เนี่ยอยู่ในระดับให้ใกล้100มากที่สุดเพราะฉะนั้นเราก็รันอยู่ประมาณ 90-95% มาโดยตลอดครับปัจจุบันเรามีสต็อกถ่านหินเท่าไหร่นะฮะราคาเฉลี่ยประมาณเท่าไหร่ปัจจุบันเนี่ยเรามีสต็อกถ่านหินอยู่ประมาณ 600,000 กว่าตันนะครับต้นทุนถ่านหินของเราอยู่ที่เฉลี่ยประมาณ 2,800-2,900 บาทต่อตันก็ราคาลงมาเรื่อยๆนะครับจากช่วงที่ผ่านมานะนี่พูดถึงราคาเฉลี่ยในสต็อกในปัจจุบันของเราข้อ7นะครับปัจจุบัน เราใช้ RDF กี่เปอร์เซ็นต์ของค่าความร้อนทั้งหมดในการผลิตปูนซีเมนต์นะฮะในปีหนึ่งเนี่ยโดยปกติเนี่ยถ้าไม่มี RDF เลยเนี่ยเราจะใช้ถ่านหินประมาณ1.7 ล้านถึง 1.8 ล้านตันนะครับพอเราใช้ RDF มาช่วยเนี่ยตอนนี้เราจะใช้ถ่านหินลดลงเหลือประมาณน่าจะเดือนหนึ่งประมาณแสนสองนะครับก็ปีหนึ่งก็ประมาณ1.4 ล้านนะก็จะลดลงนะครับตอนนี้เราใช้ RDF มาแทนถ่านหินได้ประมาณเฉลี่ยประมาณ 15% นะครับโดยที่เรามีเป้าหมายที่จะทำให้ตรงนี้ขึ้นไปถึง 20%ผลการดำเนินงานของธุรกิจวัสดุก่อสร้างเช่นไฟเบอร์ซีเมนต์อิฐมวลเบาเป็นยังไงนะฮะก็พวกนี้ก็เป็น product ที่เราเอามาเป็น value added product ซึ่งจริงๆแล้วมันก็มีการใช้ปูนซีเมนต์เป็นวัตถุดิบในการผลิตธุรกิจตรงนี้ก็ดีขึ้นตามลำดับนะครับสเปรดของปิโตรเคมใน Q4 คาดว่าจะเป็นอย่างไรบ้างนะครับรบกวนขอทราบสเปรดเดือนตุลาพฤศจิกายนนิดหนึ่งคุณ When you have any comment on the spread projected spread in Q4
This one is September and it's coming down to about $400 per ton.
เราปกติเนี่ยเราสามารถที่จะ manage spread ตรงนี้ได้สูงกว่าตลาดทั่วไปนะผมคิดว่าเรายังมี spread อยู่ในระดับ$600นะครับถึงบางจังหวะ$800บางจังหวะก็$600แล้วบางจังหวะก็ต่ำลงมาเล็กน้อยนะครับคดีความต่างๆเกี่ยวกับการทำเหมืองแร่นอกเขตประธานบัตรคาดว่าศาลจะตัดสินเมื่อไหร่อันนี้ก็อยู่ระหว่างการพิจารณาคดีของศาลฎีกานะฮะอันนี้รายละเอียดคุณมาเรียได้พูดไปแล้วประเด็นคือว่าคดีนี้ศาลชั้นต้นเนี่ยสั่งให้เราชำระค่าปรับหรือสามารถถมพื้นที่ให้กลับอยู่ในสภาพเดิมได้นะครับเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยworst case ก็คือเราก็ถมเราก็คงไม่ต้องจ่าย1,000 ล้านอะไรอย่างเงี้ยนะฮะแต่ว่าเนื่องจากบริษัทเห็นว่าเราไม่ได้กระทำผิดตามฟ้องนะครับเพราะฉะนั้นเราก็ใช้สิทธิ์ฎีกาไปปัจจุบันคดีก็อยู่ระหว่างการพิจารณาของศาลฎีกานะครับเราก็คิดว่าคดีก็อาจจะศาลท่านอาจจะสั่งมาในเป็นประโยชน์กับทางบริษัทได้เช่นกันนะครับแนวโน้มผลประกอบการปี67จะเป็นอย่างไรนะฮะจริงๆต้องบอกว่าปี67เนี่ยตัวปูนซีเมนต์เนี่ยก็น่าจะดีขึ้นนะครับเพราะว่าต้นทุนพลังงานเนี่ยลดลงนะครับทำให้มี EBITDA ขึ้นส่วนธุรกิจปิโตรเคมก็เราก็มองสเปรดอยู่ในระดับปัจจุบันนะครับคุณ you wanna add something on this
Around 500 to 600.
Yeah. ในส่วนธุรกิจโรงไฟฟ้าค่า FT ที่เพิ่มขึ้นนะครับก็จะทำให้ Power เนี่ยมีกำไรมากขึ้นนะครับ69 สตางค์ต่อหน่วยนะฮะก็เราก็ใช้ RDF มาแทนถ่านหินได้มากขึ้นเรื่อยๆนะก็จะทำให้ cost ของการผลิตไฟฟ้าเนี่ยลดลงงบลงทุนปี67ตั้งไว้เท่าไหร่นะฮะดูนิดนึงนี่ค่าเลยครับครับปี67เนี่ยฮะในทั้งกลุ่มเนี่ยเราคาดว่าน่าจะอยู่ที่ประมาณทั้งกลุ่มน่าจะประมาณ 4,000 กว่าล้านถึง 5,000 ล้านนะครับก็เป็นการไปใช้ในโครงการเพื่อลดต้นทุนของกลุ่มปูนซีเมนต์เป็นหลักนะครับในขณะที่ปีปัจจุบันเนี่ยก็จะเหลือส่วนที่จะต้องใช้ลงทุนอีกประมาณ1,000 ล้านนะครับมีคำถามเกี่ยวกับเรื่อง ธุรกิจปิโตรเคมีปีหน้าจะโตกี่เปอร์เซ็นต์อันนี้ก็คงจะ depend on spread นะฮะ spread ของ
แล้วก็ volume ดีขึ้น
แล้วก็ volume ก็น่าจะดีขึ้น
ปีนี้มันมี shutdown
ครับอันนี้ก็น่าจะหมดคำถามจากทางบ้านแล้วนะฮะต้องขอบคุณผู้ลงทุนที่ให้ความสนใจในการนำเสนอข้อมูลของบริษัท TPIPL จำกัดมหาชนคุณอาสันติ
the dividend เนี่ย
ครับ
we pay dividend
ใช่เรา pay dividend อันนี้ก็แล้วแต่ว่าบอร์ดจะพิจารณานะครับต้องขอบคุณนักลงทุนทุกท่านนะครับสำหรับการนำเสนอข้อมูลในวันนี้ก็เอาจบลงแค่นี้นะครับขอบคุณครับ